We have a fairly nice 1996 K1100LT. It was manufactured 11 of 95. However, we do have a few issues with it. First off, you can tell this was serviced at second wind. The fender was not secured properly. I don't know why this is a persistent problem of bikes of these models coming from that dealership, but it is. And the trouble with that is they send them out the door and it rubs the frickin' paint off the fender and off the radiator cover panel. You know, in normal circumstance, that's a lot of money in paint work to fix that. We also have the drain tube for the windshield, which is just hanging out here in the breeze. It actually goes way down back there. So I'm guessing at some point they probably replaced the headlight, windshield, or did fork seals. Speaking of forks, you see all this corrosion here. All of this needs to be polished with steel wool. This will result in a seal leak quite rapidly. It's just too rough. It's a common problem with K-bikes. These really should just have fork boots put on them, polish the legs, put fork boots on, the accordion type. They look ugly, but it's better than putting seals in every year. Again, we see the fender is, while it's secured, it's not in the right place on this side. That's what causes all of that rubbing. We also have an issue. Customer stated that the clutch slips. We have a rear main seal leak. Get my light here. We can see it weeping right out of the bell housing drain vent hole. It's wet back here. We are also leaking up here, which is the water pump slash oil pump. It's 2 units housed in one, separated by a seal. This one is actually leaking oil, which is rare. It's usually just coolant from the water pump. That is rebuildable, though it's been quite a few years since I've had to do one. You can rebuild them. We also have a minor leak here at the shift shaft seal. That's, as I stated, minor. It appears the exhaust is in good condition. These are known for splitting right here at the collector, because anytime this exhaust system is removed from this bike, it is fucking imperative that this mount on the right side be replaced. It's a cheap piece of shit rubber mount. They fail. When they fail, this whole exhaust system starts twisting this way. The only place it can flex is where those 4 pipes are welded together. This is a very, very, very expensive exhaust system. It works well. It's nice and quiet. It needs to be taken care of. Change the stinking mount. It's like $30 or something for a mount. Change it each time the exhaust is off. It's not that often the exhaust has to come off. Other issues we have, we can see a little bit of play here on the center stand pivot, which most likely means that the center stand has some wear there. Not critical, but it should probably be disassembled, cleaned, re-lubricated, or rebuilt as needed. Rear master cylinder, we see the crud built up here. I bet it leaks. Hey, it's not leaking. I lose that bet. But, well, it is leaking. It's just not full of freaking fluid like I expected. I would recommend replacing that. Rebuild kits suck. They work less than 20% of the time. Much better to just replace the whole master cylinder, and then you have a functioning brake right off from the beginning with no worries. And I don't think I can do this with one hand while I hold the damn camera. We'll move along. I'll get back to that in a minute. Rear drive pinion seal is leaking. We do not have any play. We do not have a leak at the ring gear, so that's a good sign. Pinion seal leak does not concern me whatsoever. That is not really an issue. Moving along, we have a leak at the front master cylinder. We could see all the crap built up here. Again, like the rear, it's not pouring fluid out, but it's definitely weeping. This also should be replaced. That is a $400 master. The rear is like $160 or so. This has heated grips, so this is a bit labor intensive. What you have to do with these, besides removing the fuel tank, because that's where the connector for the heated grip wires are. Heated grip wires run inside the handlebar. You have to remove them in order to get the master cylinder off. So you're pulling the fuel tank, you're disconnecting the heated grip connector. You are also pushing the two wires for this grip out of the connector, feeding them back through this whole handlebar, out the end, changing the master and the pivot bolt, etc., and then snaking the wire back through and reconnecting everything. It's time consuming. It's about 4 hours if everything goes right. We also have the fork tubes brought up a little bit. Someone might have done that to increase the steering responsiveness, or they were a little short on the inseam. I don't like the forks up there. It usually makes these a little bit twitchy. We also have the stock rear shock, which is absolutely nothing to brag about. They are undersprung, underdamped, kind of mushy, and these bikes handle great once you ditch that shock and put something substantial on there. We have some dings and scratches, which are normal. The windshield's kind of foggy, again, normal. We have a real nice Russell Daylong seat and a backrest that's far superior to the goofy rubber thing that BMW had with the useless 2 speakers in it. These stereos are nothing special. This one is missing its face, which is okay. I have some of those if the customer would like to replace that. Scratches on the crash bar. Overall, I mean, it's not a terrible bike, but it certainly needs some work. I would have to work up some numbers and a parts list for an estimate. But, you know, it's all here. It's got 75,000 miles on it. It's going to have some faults. We have to expect that, and you have to deal with that. Hopefully the price is right, because I would say off the top of my head, to get into fixing everything mechanical, you're probably going to be in the, you know, with both brake master cylinders and the rear main seal and replacing the clutch and everything, you're in polishing the fork legs, etc., 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 you're probably going to be close to spending $3,000 to make this bike reliable. So that's something to consider prior to purchasing this. Thanks.